you are being peer pressured right now. Seriously. And it is not the generic school thing of you're being peer pressured to drink alcohol, vape, do generic bad physical actions. Instead, school does not teach you the other side of the coin where peer pressure affects you mentally, the intangible stuff like your identity, your beliefs, your morality. And what do I mean? Can I please elaborate? Let me tell you. Okay, the biggest reason why people are unable to lose weight is not because of a willpower issue, because clearly it's very obvious willpower is not the issue to why people love to go to the gym. People like to go to the gym. People like to eat healthy, but equally people like to eat unhealthy. People like to be lazy, and it is not willpower. Again, it is not a willpower issue, but rather how people identify themselves. We extrapolate this onto homelessness. Controversial topic, but a lot of people who have escaped poverty, they always talk about how it was not difficult. Obviously, there were struggles involved, but to accomplish anything, effort is involved. What they talk about is that there's a lot of resources there to help them. Rather, it was them wanting to change. It is their shift in identity. And when I mean peer pressure affecting you right now, it is the people you choose to surround yourself, the identities they label upon you, because placebo, whilst there is not a study proving that placebo applies to identity, it's rather because placebo and identity is difficult to research and prove. But placebo is a very powerful thing. It has proven to make you smarter, physically perform better, be more productive, heal faster. If you're given a pretend fake pill and told that there are side effects with that drug, you will placebo the side effects of a drug. Placebo is very powerful, and the same thing applies to identity. If your friend is constantly telling you that you are dumb and stupid, and not just one friend, everyone, the entire school, you will begin to placebo that into truth. Okay, so the difference between a successful and unsuccessful person is their identity, because it is not a willpower issue. Boom, we're in an eating contest. It's me against some fucking obese 600-pound fat guy. Guess what? I'm going to lose that contest, not because I lacked more willpower than the fucking fat guy. It's because he has set and had a foundation for him to be able to eat more food. And we move this to a different context. A person who's trying to integrate a new habit, it seems like people always have an ego about themselves. I'm going to wake up the earliest ever, and I'm also going to drive to the furthest gym, because the thought process behind that is that if I make this new habit as difficult as possible to maintain, it'll only be easier when things get easier. But the problem is people make things so difficult that it's impossible to maintain. And because it's impossible to maintain, they give up. And who cares about giving up and consistency? Rather, they lose the identity of someone who goes to the gym daily, as someone who appreciates and going to the gym, because people actually can eat healthy and enjoy it. It is not activating them to use their willpower. And we're going to reference Andrew Huberman. He made a very long podcast about willpower. It gets controversial. There's actually two sides to willpower. Willpower is unlimited, willpower is limited, and that limited source is glucose. Here's the thing, you literally have to decide which scientific study you would want to believe in. People talk about believing in unlimited. Willpower is unlimited. You can use it for as much as you want. I think that is not even physically possible, but you can believe in it. I actually believe that willpower is limited, because if you believe it is a limited resource, you treat your effort and willpower much more sparingly. And guess what? Once you optimize your actions in your daily life, it becomes easier to do. And when things become easier to do, you maintain that identity. It gets even more easier, and you have reserved leftover willpower to go accomplish more goals. What I'm talking about is your identity is important, and willpower is not that vehicle to succeed, but rather identity. Now, here's the other thing. People make a lot of videos, write a lot of books about how to be more confident, how to be this, and that, believe in yourself, magic of thinking big. And it's very important to realize that you need to believe in yourself, but that's very generic and boring as well. I can just tell you the entire summary of all these books. If you want to become a confident person, you cannot fake it. Rather, you need to be humble, do things that suck for a very brief moment, maybe a year, month, 6 months. You have to do that one thing, suck, have the identity stick upon you, and then everything becomes easier and you reset and do another new thing where it sucks again. And that's how you gain confidence, because you need to have that
evidence
archive of experiences where you have struggled, and that confidence stems from I have struggled and I have succeeded beforehand. Anyway, we're not going to discuss about that because your identity is also dependent on the people you surround yourself with. We've always heard the generic quote, the 5 people you surround yourself with is your future. But it seems like nobody actually discusses how important that is. And I read a lot of books, they actually don't mention this. I watch a lot of YouTube videos, they actually don't mention that peer pressure and the people you surround yourself with defines your identity. And we have to see it as a series of escalations. You don't just hang around a bad group and then you instantly become a bad person. It's much more slow and gradual. For example, if your peer group is just a bunch of racist people, you already have your initial belief of whatever they're saying and believing in is bad. But if that is your only reference of how other people view things, like you can only hang out with that specific friend group, which realistically, people only have one friend group they hang around with. We can talk about diversity of unique ideas and how that's good for yourself so you can think for yourself. But let's say, because most people only have one friend group, they're surrounded by that group of racist people. Obviously, they think it's bad, but because that is their only reference, that is their only standard of how people view other people, you slowly start to conform into what they believe. And for something much more realistic, again, generic story, I went to San Francisco, random group of people, could have gotten kidnapped, and they kept on inviting me to go hang out with them more, and I declined. Not because they were bad people, because I knew that if I continually hung around these type of people, I would slowly shift and think, oh, you know, it's probably okay to show up late on time. You know, it's probably not that bad to drink and do a little bit of drugs because they do it. They're clearly fine and acceptable. And that's how your identity slowly shifts by the people you surround yourself with. And identity is so important because it is not willpower that determines your actions. It is rather how you view yourself. People love to make the argument that life is completely free. You have the action and ability to do anything you want. I disagree. I imagine life as a walk in the park. There's a specific path that you follow, and what creates that path is your self-identity, because realistically, you just don't randomly break out in dance like you're in a high school musical movie, because guess what? It goes against your identity, and if it's against your identity, you don't stray from that specific path. That's why identity is so important. But people also don't realize that friendships is what determines your identity. It determines your beliefs, your moralities, the people you surround yourself with. And why identity is so important is because of placebo. You live up to the role that you believe in. Right, because you ever had that story where suddenly someone is thrusted into a position of leadership and then they actually stand up to that level? I mean, it's obviously sometimes people sink and swim. But I think given a long enough time frame, if they start to believe something, it usually becomes true. And we're not talking about over dramatic things like someone actually believing they can fly. Stupid. In the realms of reality, identity can change and control your life. But that is just my opinion with the research and books I've been reading recently. Watch my second channel video where I upload daily. Like, subscribe, toodly-doo.